evening, and thank you for joining us for this candidate forum for place 7 of Bastrop Independent School District. And so this is our last virtual candidate forum. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to go live and be back in person so we can avoid these technical difficulties. But tonight's forum is part of the Bastrop Chamber's initiative called BastropVotes.com. The purpose is pure and simple, and is to promote the vote in Bastrop and Bastrop County. And we do this in 3 ways. First, we actively register voters to vote. We have a website that is fair and impartial with information about candidates seeking elected office. And we conduct candidate forums like this so that people can see and hear the candidates themselves before Election Day on Saturday, May 7th. Since the inception of BastropVotes.com, we've done 20 plus candidate forums. It's an exciting time to be a part of Bastrop and Bastrop County, as we had an announcement in July of 2020 with the Gigafactory that is coming to Bastrop County, or in our backyard of Bastrop County, and all kinds of new housing developments all across our county. With this inevitable growth that's coming our way, we need visionary leaders that are energetic, and especially for a school district that covers 433 square miles, which is an enormous footprint in our county. Before I get started, I want you to know that the slate of questions for tonight's forum was assembled and vetted by a panel from our Government Affairs Committee, submitted to the moderator in advance, and the moderator has sole discretion over which questions were selected. The questions will have this criteria. Questions directed at one candidate will not be asked. Rude or inflammatory questions will not be used, and questions of a similar topic or nature have been combined so that there's not repetitiveness. I want to remind the candidates to speak clearly into their mics so that the viewers online can watch this webinar and hear your responses. I don't see this happening, but if necessary, as facilitators, we will mute your mic so that we can stay on our schedule. The forum will end promptly at 6:30, and we will end at 6:30 or when we're finished with the questions. Also, this forum is being recorded and will be posted on Bastrop Chamber's website within the next 48 hours, along with our BastropVotes.com website. Finally, I need to introduce our facilitators. First, we have Carrie Fossler. She will be our timekeeper tonight. She is a member of our Government Affairs team on our board of directors and all around amazing volunteer in Bastrop. So Carrie, can you give a wave? And also our moderator tonight is Charlie Stone. Mr. Stone is a veteran who served in the U.S. as a U.S. Army helicopter pilot in Vietnam. He's a graduate of Southwest Texas State, now known as Texas State University. He graduated with a degree in law enforcement. Mr. Stone has worked as a DPS trooper, been in private business, has served as a county judge from 1991 to 1999 in Refugio County, and retired in 2011 after 3 years working at the Capitol for a state representative and 11 years as an executive director of a state agency. So Judge Stone has a wide variety of experiences, and he was the perfect choice to moderate our candidate forum tonight. So Judge, I want to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Becky, and hello to the candidates. I know that you have received a protocol sheet ahead of time that outlines the procedures that we'll use as we go through this forum. And what I need to do as part of our usual routine is to read this protocol sheet so those folks who are on the Zoom candidate or camera will be able to understand basically how we run this forum. So it's a little redundant for the candidates, but I need to do this as part of our procedures. So the candidates have received this copy of the protocol sheet ahead of time. A candidate who does not attend cannot otherwise be represented either by another individual or a prepared statement. If only one candidate is in attendance, there will be no forum for that office, and the candidate present will be permitted to make an opening statement. That almost happened tonight. We welcome Ashley here, so we're going to have 2 candidates, so the forum goes on. Questions will not be made available to candidates in advance of the forum. And I can assure you that I have not shared these. And I don't think the Government Affairs Committee nor BECKI has shared with anybody else. So these are big questions that they have not seen or heard before. All right, for timekeeping here, each candidate will be allotted the following: a 2-minute opening statement, a 1.5-minute response to each question that is asked, and then a 1-minute rebuttal for the candidate who is asked the question first. And then at the end of the questions, there will be a 2-minute closing statement by both candidates. And then if time permits, and we're running short of time evidently, but if time permits, if any questions come from our Zoom attendees and we have time, then they'll be allowed a 1.5-minute response to those questions also. Okay, here's the order of the statements and questions. The order of opening statements will be determined by the alphabetical order of each office. So in this case, Mr. MUTSCHINK will be the first one for the opening statement. The candidate to receive the first question. The first responder will be the candidate who was second to make his or her opening statement, and then subsequent questions will alternate between the two candidates. So that means Mr. Thompson will be the one who will have the first question. And then to allow time for closing statements, a total, this says 7 to 8 questions. I have selected 12 in case we have time to go that far, but we'll stop it at whatever time BECKI says we're going to stop it. And then Carrie, our timekeeper, will keep the candidates and the moderator apprised of the remaining time. So if a candidate is in mid-sentence, when the stop sign is shown, he may complete that sentence in as few words as possible. Now, if a candidate attempts to exceed his time allotment, the moderator will inform the candidate that the allotted time has expired and direct the forum to continue to the next candidate. So I hope those are nice and clear and understandable. And if you have questions about candidates, you can certainly ask me. We have a list of questions here. I'll go into that before we ask the first question, but I think to get started, we'll go ahead with our opening statements. And the candidates, I didn't have a chance to talk to you ahead of time. Do you wish to be addressed by your first name or your last name?
First name, please.
Okay.
And
first name. Okay, both of you first. I'd like for it to be the same. I appreciate that. So, all right, Ashley, you have an opening statement and 2 minutes to do that. Proceed.
Thank you very much. Sorry for my tardiness and technology difficulties that I was having at the office. I'm Ashley MUTSCHINK, and I'm currently your school board president, and very excited about the opportunity to be able to rerun for another 3 years. And want to extend a thank you to the Chamber of Commerce, Ms. WOMBLE, for setting this up, as well as Carrie for timing, and Mr. Stone, thank you very much for volunteering to do this again. So I've been in Bastrop for a little over 28 years, very happily married to a beautiful wife, Tricia. And we have 2 children. Bradley's 21 and a graduate from Bastrop High School, as well as Texas A&M. And Brianna, who is going to be a graduate here of Bastrop High School and also be attending the University of A&M. I am a partner with the NICHI Group, which is an independent insurance agency. Last year was 30 years that I've been with the NICHI Group, and moved here in Bastrop 28 years ago. We actually bought an agency here as well. And I've been serving as your one of your school board trustees for going on 9 years, and president of your board here for the past 6 years. And I'm excited about the opportunity here to rerun.
All right. If you're done, we'll go ahead and move to Joseph and let him give his opening statement. 2 minutes for you, Joseph.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Thompson. Also, thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and BECKI for having me once again. I'm born and raised in Bastrop. My family is deeply rooted here, both me and my wife. We live here with our children. Currently, I'm CEO of a nonprofit organization for the past almost 10 years. We advocate for public education and educational resources mostly to disadvantaged communities, mostly in Bastrop and Austin. And I'm excited to run. Thank you to Mr. Ashley for allowing me to run against him. And thank you.
All right, let's move to the questions now. I'll give you a little bit of information about it. First of all, candidates, if you...
Can I interrupt you a sec?
Sure.
We need to let Matthew and Chris make open remarks as.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Oh yeah, I guess it's okay if I go.
Sure.
My name is Chris Dillon. I've been on the school board trustee for the last 4 years. And I'm running the only way that is enjoyable to run, that's unopposed. And I really enjoy my work on the school board. You know, as parents, we want the very best for our children. And that is true for my wife, Christina, and I raising our sons who are 13 and 17 here in Bastrop. As a current school board member, the expectation that every child, every day, is set for the administration to carry out, which means that each and every child in Bastrop ISD is to be provided the educational opportunity to live their dreams. Starting with my educational background, I'm a product of Bastrop ISD as a 1990 graduate of Bastrop High School. I graduated at Baylor University with a degree in accounting from Southwest Texas State University, now Texas State University, with a master's in business administration, and received a doctorate of jurisprudence from St. Mary's University School of Law. For over 20 years, I've had my law office here in my hometown of Bastrop, but have represented people all over the state of Texas. In short, I have the financial and legal background to continue the school district's path forward in raising up our community's next generation of leaders. In that regard, I'm deeply committed to making sure every student in our district receives a great education. I'm a small business owner of a successful law practice and know the skills our students need to succeed across a wide range of careers. I am data-driven and rely on well-reviewed research to set policy goals. I bring years of experience, education, and a passion for learning to the board. I deeply believe in our public education system, and our future as a community, a country, and our world depends on teaching our children to overcome ignorance and intolerance while realizing the necessity of being active and involved members in the community. My focus is finding those solutions that work for our students. I would like to talk about a few of our board priorities, the first of which has been school safety and discipline. As we all know, a positive school climate reflects attention to fostering social and physical safety, providing support that enables students and staff to realize high behavioral and academic standards.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you, Becky and Judge Stone, and appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Mix.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me on. We're coming up on 9 years. I actually first started with Mr. Ashley MUTSCHINK and 9 years ago, and we had since then we've run unopposed, which has been nice, as Mr. Dillon says. I appreciate the opportunity, and I don't take this lightly. I got on for the school board because of my mom, who passed away a year and a half ago, and she was a public school teacher for 34 years. And so that was near and dear to my heart, education and being in this community and having a young child. I knew that I wanted to be part of the solution. And so that's why I got on and continue to stay on as a school board trustee. So I just wanted to stop in and say thanks for having us. And I appreciate what y'all do for these voting opportunities and getting the word out so that people know, where we stand and that we have a voice and that we can make a difference in local government. So thank you.
Well, thank you for giving your statements, and we appreciate y'all for the work y'all do on the school board. And it's always fortunate when you're unopposed, isn't it? So, all right, back to the two candidates that are running against each other. We're going to start with opening questions. Let me say that, Joseph, you're going to be first. You've got a minute and a half. Just so you know, for both candidates, if you need me to repeat the question, don't hesitate to ask me to do that. That we won't penalize you for that. I was given a list of 51 questions. There are 9 categories. I selected 12. And we'll see how far we can get through that. Depends on how quickly y'all answer your questions, but we'll give you the time that you're allotted. So Joseph, if you're ready, you're the first one on the list for question number 1. If you're ready, we'll start right now.
Ready?
Okay. Number 1, what are your views on vocational education and the importance of offering them to students who do not have a plan to attend college after high school?
I have strong views about vocational education. I believe that if a child doesn't have plans of attending college after high school, then a vocation is a great way to go, as well as the military. I'm a military veteran. I spent 12 years in the Marine Corps, so I'm a strong advocate of if a child doesn't go to college, then the Marine Corps is a great second option because it gives you those vocational skills as well as the option to go to college. And so I think that we have to integrate a lot of those trades and those vocational skills into our daily education, maybe starting in middle school and high school, so that once kids graduate, if they don't go to college, then they have an alternative option, maybe some type of licensing or internship to where they can go straight into a vocational skill or a trade. And of course, there's nothing wrong with a trade. There's a lot of trades that sometimes they make more money than those of us with college degrees. So I'm a strong advocate for vocational skills.
All right. Thank you, Joseph. Ashley, same question for you.
Vocational skills are very, very important. I can personally say I'm one that had an opportunity to go into sales and not finish my last year of college. And so it's been very successful for me as well. There's definitely a shortage in those jobs that are out there in vocational skills. I'm really excited about the different pathways we have here at Bastrop ISD. It was really great to go visit the robotics class the other day and see all the different skill sets that are in there and the different job roles that they have out there as well. Also out at our Cedar Creek High School, we have programs where they can get OSHA certifications. And so in high school, which allows them to make more per hour when they go out there into the workforce, as well as our woodworking shop that we have out there and all the other different pathways that we have here at Bastrop ISD.
All right. Joseph, you have another minute if you have a rebuttal or any other information you want to add to that question.
Yes, I'm learning that BISD has a lot of vocational programs that a lot of our community doesn't know about. And so I would definitely like to see more communication or advertisement to those parents, especially in our rural areas, about those different programs, especially the robotics class and ROTC and some of the other ones.
All right, we'll move to question number 2, and this one's for Ashley, and you have a minute and a half. What is your understanding of the achievement gaps facing the district, and how should those be addressed?
It is something that we are very focused on. It's definitely one of our number one priorities, and we were having great success before COVID came into place. And but as we've come through COVID and recovered from COVID, we've had a great opportunity to be able to test the majority of our students and know the areas that we need to be able to work on. We've addressed those in many ways, from summer school to additional staff that we have in place, as well as time in the classrooms. I do know that the teachers are able to get together in their meetings and meet and really drill down and where they need to help these individual students. And so it is a top priority for us.
All right, Joseph, same question for you.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely, sure, I sure will. What is your understanding of the achievement gaps facing the district, and how should those be addressed?
So my current understanding, according to the data, I think BISD is well below average at the moment, and that was pre-COVID. With COVID, I believe that learning loss across the country has declined. And so once we get back into the swing of things, I think we have to address it by integrating more programs as far as literacy, Our literacy rates are low, our math proficiency is low. So we have to integrate programs to and provide more educational resources, especially to our rural areas. That's where we're starting to see the most decline in our academic achievement is in our rural areas where they have less resources and a high population of economically disadvantaged students. So I believe we have to put as much resources as we can to those areas where they do have a high population of underachieving students, and so that we can boost those numbers up a little bit.
All right. So Ashley, you have another minute if you have anything else that you want to respond to on that question.
Absolutely. You know, I'd like to add that you know, we're rated as an A in college career and military readiness and a B in the overall district, which has been a great improvement here at Bastrop ISD. And that we are really focused on ensuring that all students are able to read by the third grade level. And so these are things that, and there's so many more that we've really been focusing on, you know, in the past several years and especially this year.
All right, we'll move to question number 3. Joseph, this is for you first. How can our district best ensure students are prepared for success in school and life?
Well, I think it starts with our curriculum, just integrating those life skills that we do see that are used outside of education and outside of once you graduate school, integrating those life skills and those social skills that best prepare us as adults. You know, we see it every day as adults in the corporate world. So integrating those different programs, you know, such as job preparation, and just, you know, a lot of kids don't even have the means of bank accounts or understanding money. And so integrating different programs that incorporate life skills as well as academic achievements into our curriculum, and as well as technology. You know, we're a technology world right now, and contrary to popular belief, everybody doesn't have a smartphone or a laptop or a device. And so being able to provide those different courses in our curriculum at our schools will greatly benefit students, especially those who are economically disadvantaged, once they graduate high school and they go into a world that's full of technology or full of money and things that they haven't never seen before.
All right, Ashley, your response to that question?
Yes, there's many programs that we were able to put into place that we came up with after COVID. And one of the main focuses was on the mental health for these students. And so we were able to employ social workers at every single campus, as well as additional training for our counselors. Social and emotional learning are some things that we're really focused on. And we really got some great partnerships with like Bluebonnet Trails, Connections, and others as well there. And also opening up our medical clinic was a big thing here the last couple of years as well, to even meet those medical needs, as well as the social and the emotional. And I think I'm really impressed with a lot of our fine arts, our athletic programs, our extracurricular activities that are out there, especially with the coaches and the mentoring and things that they do with them. Because I do know at the board meetings when they come in and talk about their accolades, the first one they talk about is their academic success and how many are all district and how many are all state, and different things like that. And it seems to be across the board in all of our programs. So it's very encouraging.
All right, Joseph, you have another minute if you have any rebuttal or other information you want to add.
Well, once again, I would reiterate that we have to make sure that these programs are communicated and advertised to the entire district. I mean, like I said, I've talked to several people who aren't aware of any of these programs or any of these things that are going on. And I like the mental health aspect. You know, as of COVID, there's a lot of mental health issues with our students, as well as our teachers, as well as our community. And so I think that's great that the district has incorporated that into its district, and we need to increase those programs and maybe look into those things as a long-term effect in our district.
All right, we'll move to question number 4. Ashley, this is for you first. Should virtual learning be a permanent option in Bastrop ISD? And if so, what should that look like? And if not, why?
You know, we learned a lot through COVID, and virtual learning is extremely tough. It is an option that's out there. There are some steps that a child and parents need to go through, especially if maybe they're home recovering from an accident or possibly an illness. But these children not being in the classroom and that one-on-one, it just makes a huge difference. We definitely saw that when we retested our students in regards to how far they fell behind and how much work we got to do to get them caught up and to get back just to where we were. And so as in devices and hotspots, we're still sending those home with those students so they can still do their homeworks. And I do know that a lot of these teachers have blogs that they use. Both of my daughters took ACC classes. And so, you know, their homework had to be done online or emailed in. And some of those professors still are, you know, when there's a bad weather day, they're conducting class possibly from their home in Austin or from ACC. So having these kids in the classroom makes a big difference.
All right, Joseph, same question to you. Minute and a half.
Yes, sir. I absolutely strongly agree that virtual learning should be a permanent incorporation of every educational institution. Pre-COVID and during COVID, I was a strong advocate for virtual learning. I got a bachelor's degree online and a master's degree online, and everybody doesn't learn the same. And so, you know, that virtual learning option will take away a lot of learning loss as far as bad weather days or sick days, or as we're seeing now, transportation issues. Kids can't get to school because of transportation issues. And so virtual learning gives students, especially students who can't handle a classroom environment, a different option, sometimes a better option to learn at their own pace, and they never miss, you know, a learning day.
All right, Ashley, do you have anything to add to that response before?
No, thank you.
Okay. We'll move to question number 5. Joseph, this is for you. Let me turn the page here. All right. What do you think the Bastrop ISD priorities for 2023 legislative session should be?
So one of the priorities I know is teacher pay. I think that should be, and staff pay, not just teachers, but the entire staff. I think one of the big main issues that we hear from employees of this district and districts across the country is they aren't paid enough for the work that they do. And I strongly believe in paying people for the amount of work that they do. And so I think that making sure we pay in our staff and our teachers and bringing the best staff here. And that's one of the things that attracts the best staff is the amount of pay. And so having the best staff and the best teachers that we can possibly get will better ensure that our students are getting the best education that they could possibly get.
All right, Ashley, you want to give us an answer to that question too? Ashley, sorry.
Yes, would you mind repeating the question one more time?
Oh,
Please?
sure, we'll be happy to. What do you think the Bastrop ISD priorities for the 2023 legislative session should be?
Definitely number one is shortage of teachers. You know, it seems to be that they're burned out, they're resigning. I know that we seem to see that monthly here at Bastrop ISD, and we also seem to see it at Region 13 and across the state of Texas. I do believe they're going to have to address something there, which ties into school financing and how can we get these teachers more money and also improve their retirement as well. And so also the attendance is a big one. Average daily attendance. I know that we've gotten some help from the state to give us some waivers, but you know, we're normally running an attendance rate of about 96%, and we're at about 90% right now. And so, and it ties into the shortage of busing and pay and just different things like that. So those are things we're definitely focused on.
All right, Joseph, you have another minute if you have anything to add to that question.
I also agree, but I think we need to get to the root cause of why teachers are resigning or why there's a staff shortage. I think, beyond the legislative priorities as a district, that should be one of our main priorities going into the end of this year and next year, is just figuring out the root cause, talking to the teachers, talking to the staff, just trying to figure out what it is that's causing them to burn out, causing them to resign at a rapid rate in the past year that we've seen.
All right. Thank you, Joseph. Question number 6. Ashley, this is for you first. This is a rather long one. I'll make sure that everybody understands this. Teaching children about sex, gender issues, gender modification, and more has made the news in recent weeks. Lawmakers in Florida passed a bill, and Governor DeSantis signed the bill, making it law to ban certain instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in the classroom for children kindergarten to 3rd grade. What are your thoughts on this topic? And the second part is, did Florida go too far or not far enough?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I think that definitely this starts at home with the parents, and it's their right and it's their decision of when the appropriate time is to cover those topics with their children. And so, a lot of those things are hot buttons that are out there. I think that we need to take a very conservative approach and uphold our policies that we currently have in place as well, and which are put together by committees, and of course boards do approve those. But we need to take a very conservative approach toward any of those topics.
All right. Joseph, same question to you.
I agree with Mr. Ashley. I don't agree with the district teaching anything related to sex without, the parents' permission. I think that does start at home. A lot of these issues do start at home with the parents. And I think that, parents have to be more involved in the education of our students, and we need to get parents more involved in the district so that when these topics or things come up in curriculum or in a day-to-day conversation, that they are aware and we do get that community input before these things are integrated into curriculum. And I'm not sure if Florida went too far or not far enough. I haven't really paid attention to the law that they passed, but I'm in full agreement that those types of things have to start at home and they have to stay at home.
All right, Ashley, anything else to add to that question?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Question number 7. Joseph, this is for you. Only the Board of Trustees as a whole can make a decision for the district. How do you approach discussion of topics you strongly disagree with?
Well, I'm a firm believer in a constructive conversation and talking, even if we don't agree, just being able to talk it out and come to an understanding of each other's opinion and making the best decision for our children, for our district. We're all not going to agree. We all come from different backgrounds, different walks of life. We've all experienced different parts of life, but those are the things that make us unique as a human being and as a human body. Being able to talk about those issues, not argue about them. I've talked to several people on the campaign that I don't agree with on certain topics, but we agree on other topics. And so we agree more on more things than we disagree on maybe 1 or 2 issues. And so being able to communicate and talk and being accessible to the people, I think those things will help us make better decisions as a board.
All right, Ashley?
That's a great question. I think the number one thing is to respectfully listen to your other school board trustees, as well as your superintendents or any of the cabinet that is presenting these topics, if it's HR or your chief financial officer, the number one thing that I feel that we have to keep in goal is what's the best interest for the staff and for the students and for the educational community that's out there. We had this exercise when we were challenged with removing masks from schools. And so we were able to get together and talk and to collaborate. And we all had different opinions, but at the end of the meeting, we all had a goal. And what was the goal was what was best and a decision for Bastrop ISD for safety and security and to help move the district forward through the pandemic.
All right, Joseph, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, sir.
Was that a no?
Yes, that's a no.
Oh,
Nothing
okay.
else to add.
All right, we'll move to question number 8. Ashley, this is for you. What has made you most proud about the school district's response to COVID, and what do you think could have been done better?
Wow, that was an interesting time. There was an adjustment for everybody. It just wasn't in regards to online learning for the students and also for the staff, but it was also for the board in regards to how we conducted meetings, how we communicated. I was very impressed with our administration and our superintendent really doing their research in regards to what's working for other districts. What's the things that we may need to try? I was very impressed with their knowledge of the community, what works best here for Bastrop ISD. And when we ran into some hurdles or some things were not working, they were able to adapt very quickly. And they brought, things to the board that we may need to vote on changing the policy. And we would call some special meetings to do that as well. So the leadership of Mr. Edwards and his team was just unbelievable. Nothing's perfect. There was always room for improvement. Hey, the kids fell behind academically, social and emotional as well as in discipline. And so I think, the number one thing, getting these children back in our classrooms as quick as we did was extremely crucial for the children academically and social and emotional.
All right, Joseph, your answer?
Well, some of the things I think that could have been done better, I think there could have been a better amount of communication. I think we know where the district stood as a whole, but I think a lot of people would have liked to see as individuals where the board members stood on certain topics dealing with COVID. And as a district, the community, there was a lot of different thoughts, different views on face masks, no face masks, or go to school, don't go to school. And so I think just being able to communicate different opinions and letting the public and the community know where we stood on certain issues would have been great, and including them on the conversation. A lot of the community don't feel they were included on the conversation. And so I think including them in the conversation, and even if we have to go out and find a way to get and talk to them, would have been a great.
All right. Ashley, anything else you want to add to that question?
We strive to be on the cutting edge of technology on apps, as in promoting information out there. We've had our resources audited, and we know that the most effective way to communicate with parents is a different app than it is with children in regards to even if it's texting or if it's phone calls, things like that, of trying to get that information out there. I do know that there are several board members that the public did know how they feel about the mask. Okay, and it was a split board. Okay, but again, we came together and made the decision on what's the best for the staff. When 60% of your staff were surveyed, asked them to be kept on for the remaining of the school year, you definitely got to take that into consideration. And so it wasn't just about listening to the parents, it was about the staff as well. And so, but any new ideas of how we can communicate better or possibly how we can do something different, this board and superintendent is very open to those thoughts and ideas.
All right, thank you. Stopped right on time. And that's a good point. We have reached finished question number 8. So that means it's a break time. Becky is probably around somewhere and she may want to give us some additional information. So Becky, I'm going to turn it back over to you here and see where we go from here.
You want to hear what I said again? So anyways, we're at the halfway mark and we're going to let our candidates take a real quick breather, and because they've been on the hot seat here for half hour or so. So I just want to remind everybody that early voting starts Monday, April 25th, and it's from 8 to 5. And then it begins again on May 2nd and 3rd from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with Election Day on Saturday, May 7th. The voting locations can be found at bastropvotes.com. And so just look on our voter information tab and you can find out where you need to vote. But I would highly suggest for you to be able to save time at the polls that you print out the ballot and figure out who you're voting for and what you're voting on. Inevitably, when you go to the polls, there's something on that ballot that you weren't expecting. And so if you didn't know it, we do have 2 constitutional amendments on this ballot this time. So please look up that information and make your decision before you go to the polls. You cannot take in any kind of electronic device like your phone or a tablet, but you can take in a paper ballot. So we highly suggest and encourage you to do that. Anyways, that's all I have right now. So we will turn it back over to Judge Stone and let our candidates for place 7 on the school board continue with their forum.
Question number 9, Joseph, this is for you first. Question number 9, what is the role of the school board in relation to the superintendent and in relation to school district employees?
I think the school board and the superintendent work together to create policies and to implement policies that and curriculum that are best for our children and their educational futures. I think in relation to the staff, they are the leadership of the staff, so they set the example when it comes to the staff, but they also work together with those staff, those teachers, everybody down to the janitor to make the most positive learning environment for our students as possible. Everybody plays a role in that learning environment and in the educational success of our children. And so the school board is the first line of leadership that they set the example, then the superintendent, and then the staff.
Okay, Ashley, your answer to that question?
Thank you very much. The number one responsibility of the school board is to hire and evaluate the superintendent. Next would probably be setting goals and visiting with the superintendent and make sure that the objectives to those goals are in line or the direction that we feel the district should be going all together as a team, and evaluate the progress of that throughout the year, as well as adopting a budget, setting a tax rate, and also establishing any new board policies. It's amazing sometimes that we'll get a board book and there'll be anywhere from 400 to 800 pages in it to review, just in regards to updating policies that we get recommendations from. And so it is a very detailed oriented job. There is a lot of reading, and as in regards to the staff, we are super supportive of the staff here at Bastrop ISD and so proud of them. That's definitely one of our number one strengths here at Bastrop ISD is our staff, but all the staff reports to the superintendent. And so we're trained and extensively not to cross the administrative line, but to be very, very supportive. And as Joseph said, to be a great example as a leader.
All right. Joseph, do you have anything to add to that question?
I would add that I believe the school board is one of the most important elected officials in the country, even though it's kind of overlooked and unpaid and under-recognized. And so I think, it's a very important position that many people don't know what the school board does, who they are, or they really don't pay attention to it. So I think that we have to somehow get the public's attention on these school board elections. School board sets the future for our children, the most important asset that we have. And so, I think we need to draw as much attention to the school board as we possibly can.
All right. Question number 10 for Ashley here. An individual school board member has no authority. Only the board as a whole can make decisions for the district. What skills or traits will allow you to contribute to effective operations of the board as a whole?
That's a great question. I think that the number one thing that you always need to keep in mind is you have no authority or any power as a board member unless a meeting is called, and you're 1 out of 7 votes on that board. And so you definitely need to encourage the community as well as parents to follow the chain of communication. There is a grievance process that's in place that you should be very versed on. And they spend a lot of time in our summer leadership training in regards to what is the role of a school board member, the do's and don'ts. You definitely see some abuse of that in some of our surrounding districts right now that are not very good examples, kind of such as what Joseph was saying about being great examples, for the community and the constituents. And also be a good leader. I'm not a good leader, but a good listener out there in the public.
All right, Joseph, same question to you.
So I agree. I think that, it takes great teamwork and skills, great leadership skills, great listening skills, listening to the public, listening to various points of view. Sometimes, you have to get rid of your own points of views just to really hear other people's points of views and come to a great decision. I'm used to working as a team. I spent, like I said, 12 years in the Marine Corps. And so a lot of things are decision by committee, and sometimes more than 7. Sometimes there's 100 different votes. And so, I'm used to working with a team. I've served on several committees in the civilian world, dealing with education, and there's a lot of votes. And so, I feel I'm a great listener. I like to talk to people, especially about things that I'm passionate about, which education is one of them. And so I listen to all walks of life. I study all walks of life, all different types of people. And I'm great working with team.
All right, Ashley, if you have another minute, if you have anything else to add.
Absolutely. And it'd be good that, to pass on to the public that we do have a code of ethics as well as board operating procedures. We have a calendar that we follow as well. And there's also, policies that we're constantly reviewing. And so it is great at times to get some input from the community, definitely from the staff and a lot of these committees that we have. And our administration does an excellent job of bringing that information and those recommendations to the board.
All right, thank you. Question number 11. So, Joseph, this is for you first. If elected to the school board, what is the one thing you hope to achieve?
The one thing I hope to achieve is, there's a lot of things I hope to achieve, but I guess the main thing would be to just change the way we do elections. The current at-large system, I don't think adequately represents the community. It is hard to run as a candidate, especially those candidates from rural areas or communities of color. And so I think if we change it to a single member district, maybe 5 districts, 2 at large, I think we will get more engagement when it comes time to election. We will get more representation, more diverse ideas, more diverse thoughts, more diverse people. And so I think that's the one thing that we can do to bring different ideas to the table. Everybody deserves to have a seat at the table, not only a seat, but a voice. And I think that our rural communities, they aren't adequately represented. And a lot of them, they don't come to school board meetings or they don't actively be engaged. And so if we change the way that we do elections, they will be able to put their own representative who has an intimate knowledge of their specific issues in their communities on the board and bring those to the table so that the board can make good decisions for everybody.
All right. So Ashley, since you're currently serving on the board, this should read, if re-elected to the school board, what is the one thing you hope to achieve?
It's a great question. And through the training that we've been through, it's not about what a trustee wants to achieve individually or an axe that they have to grind. You always have an opportunity for your thoughts and ideas. The number one thing that you can achieve is to be a good school board trustee and know your responsibilities and respect those, but support the goals and the objectives of the district, which you come up and help come up with through team building 110%. And when you have to make decisions at different times, you know, if you're a little not sure, then go back to those goals and go back to those objectives and make sure that they're within the, you know, the direction that you're going.
All right, Joseph, do you have anything else you want to add?
Say I agree. You know, as a board, they set goals, and I think that those goals, you know, as an individual, you might have an idea that maybe the other 6 may not have thought about. You know, and so bringing those ideas to the table and being able to set those goals, you know, as an individual, you know, you still have individuality as a board member, but you make a decision as a whole group. And so that individualism is great, especially we all come from different backgrounds, different walks of life. And so I may have thought of something that Mr. Ashley may not have thought about. And so being able to bring those together and set those goals is a great asset.
All right. This is question number 12. I think we're going to make it, gentlemen, here. Ashley, this will be your question first. In this case, it says, if elected or re-elected, what would you hope would be the key accomplishments of the board during your years of service? Can I say that better? If elected or re-elected, what would you hope would be key accomplishments of the board during your years of service?
I think number one would be academic success, and really challenge our administration and superintendent to make sure that we're exhausting all resources in regards to academic success, as well as average daily attendance. After that, we have to address the growth. It's here. It's unbelievable. Thank you to the community for supporting us and passing the bond. We definitely need the facilities and the classrooms. But time we get these 2 new elementary schools open, they're going to be at max capacity. And so we as a board are looking to possibly, you know, probably have to go out for another bond possibly in a year for 2 more elementaries. And so how do you address the growth? You know, we have 10 portables that are in ordering right now that are on their way that are going to help be a Band-Aid, you know, between now and the time we can get these facilities completed. And so, and we just came up with a new strategic plan that we're going to be reviewing here tomorrow night, possibly adopting, which addresses a lot of these things, as well as it does different pathways and opportunities for children here at Bastrop ISD.
All right. Joseph, same question for you.
So if I'm elected, I would agree that one of the number 1 priorities would be academic success or achievement. I believe that the number 1 priority of an educational institution should be academic achievement, and all other priorities should follow that. And so I would like to see in the next couple of years, Bastrop ISD become one of the top academic districts in the state, in the country. You know, starting with a rigorous curriculum, implementation of various programs dealing with technology, STEM, various resources. So we are producing the next generation of lawyers, doctors, scientists, researchers, you know, not just, you know, mediocre civilians, but just the next generation of great leaders and the next generation of Mr. Ashleys or Josephs or Mr. Stones.
All right, Ashley, you have anything else you want to add?
No, thank you.
All right, Joseph, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement. So
first, thank you for having me once again. I would hope I gain some votes. I'm doing a lot of town halls, a lot of campaigning. I hope to meet a lot of people, as many of you as I can. And just, I encourage everybody to go vote, regardless of whether you vote for me or not. As I said, school board is one of the most important elected officials in the country. And the turnout for school board elections is rarely hitting the 2,000 mark. And so I think that, you know, encourage you to vote, encourage other people that you know to vote, and just stay informed.
All right. Thank you, Joseph. Ashley, you have 2 minutes for a closing statement also.
Thank you very much. One, I'd like to thank the taxpayers and the community for their support. It's been a great honor to serve at the last 9 years as your school board trustee, as well as your president of the board for the last 6 years. I'm definitely excited about the opportunity for another 3 years because I know we got some really tough decisions to be made. I know that it's definitely a time for some strong and proven leadership that's very versed and up on the topics and the situations and that can make tough decisions. But the number one thing is to be supportive of our superintendent and the administration that we have, because they are doing a fantastic job. So please, like Joseph encouraged everybody, please take the time to go vote. There's not a lot of us on the ballot to vote for. I believe it's just Joseph and I. And so we would both really encourage you to get out there and exercise your right. And our end goal here is to make Bastrop ISD a better place. And so thank you for that opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you to Joseph and Ashley, both great candidates. And we're proud to have folks like them step up and get in the mix of things, because it's school board elections are very important, as both candidates said in their statements. It's overlooked by a lot of people, and that's a shame because it's an extremely important position. So thank you to both candidates. Thank you for a very good little forum that we've had this evening, and I hope that people tuned in and learned something about the candidates. So Becky, I'm going to turn it back over to you for final comments.
All right, well, I need to recognize some people tonight that made this all happen. First, you guys don't see him on camera, but Corbin Wright, he's our communications and media specialist. He's the one that was working over here behind the scenes trying to make all this work, and is kind of the wizard behind the curtain. So I have to thank him for being here late with me and putting on this forum. Also, I need to thank our Government Affairs Committee and our Board of Directors for their support of this initiative. Without them, BastropVotes.com would not be what it is today. Also, I need to thank my partner in crime, Carrie Fossler. This is week 2 of being on the hot seat together, conducting a candidate forum. Last week, we helped Elgin do some of their first forums. So Carrie, thank you again for being such a great, amazing community supporter and supporter of myself and the chamber. And then lastly, Charlie Stone, thank you for being patient with me and waiting on me to get questions to you. And you never bother me, sir. You are always just my backup and my backbone. So thank you, Judge Stone, for helping us with this tonight and providing this service for the citizens of Bastrop County. And finally, I need to thank these 2 candidates. I know that this is not fun having these questions come at you and being on this hot seat, but you guys both did a fantastic job, and look forward to seeing what happens at the polls here on May 7th. So if you're not aware of it, right after this election on May 7th, we have a runoff election for 2 seats that are very important to Bastrop County. There is another election on May 24th. That's a Tuesday. Early voting is the 23rd through the 27th. Again, go to BastropVotes.com to look for polling sites and locations and times. But also, we are planning a candidate forum on Monday, May 2nd. Right now, we have both runoff candidates confirmed for our Bastrop County judges position. We're still working with the state reps to make sure we can get both of them confirmed. And this will be our first in-person candidate forum since the pandemic started in March of 2020. So anyways, we want to thank you for being here with us tonight. Again, this video and recorded Zoom webinar will be launched on our BastropVotes.com website in the next 48 hours and also on Facebook. So thank you for being with us tonight, and have a great night.